Hello, everyone, and welcome to our lunch and learn of Making Mocks Matter. This is our last class that we are offering this month. Don't worry, we'll have more classes to come. But this class we saved for last because I would say that both Casey and I feel the most passionate about this class.
Yes, I agree.
And in case you don't know us, I'm Liat.
I'm Casey. What's up, guys? So happy that you guys have spent the whole month with us trying to just get through the study process and breaking the shit down with you. And mocks are kind of like, we've taken you from the beginning of your studying all the way, and now it's like you're ready to take your mocks. So how are you going to make them matter the most? That's what we're here to share with you.
All right, so we're going to be covering, we divided this into 4 different areas today, and it's table of contents, meaning, number 1, we're going to talk about picking and sticking. What the hell does that mean? 2, changing your mindset. This is very important too. Actually, you know what? Everything we're talking about is important. That's why it's on here. Number 3, we talk about manipulating your environment. And number 4, we talk about using the feedback to guide your studying. I know they're all important, but that one is really, really, really important. So now we're going to go through these and get a little more detailed into what each of these mean. All right. Casey is going to tell you all about picking and sticking. What does that mean?
So if you've watched our, I don't know which video, might be in the Get Started Studying, how to study, whatever.
How to get started studying, yeah.
Studying. Liat always says, pick and stick. We both made the mistake when we were studying to use thousands of different materials. I look back on all the different things I used. I'm like, I was so stressed and like just feeling so overwhelmed. So when you're looking at your mock exams, do the same thing, right? Pick and stick. So find a couple reputable mock exams. There's some companies out there like us and some other good ones too, that have really good mock exams. So just pick a couple that you're going to dedicate to taking, like maybe 3 full ones. Again, it's individualized to everyone. So maybe you take 1, who knows, but the more mock exams or questions you come into contact with, the better. So that's number 1. Pick a couple that you're going to take that you know. Now, also note, free is not free. Okay? Because if a mock does not come with feedback, right? And there's no author for you to contact, you're going to be racking your brain against the wall, posting in our Facebook group. What does this mean? Why is this wrong? I have no idea. It's going to stress you out more than anything. So your mocks must come with feedback and task list items. You want to know after you read the question and get your feedback, now what task list item is that associated with, right? That's going to help you also use your task list while you're taking a mock. So pick and stick, find the ones you're going to take, make sure they come with feedback. That is first and foremost, so important.
So I just want to add one thing to that. When we're talking about the feedback aspect, okay? We're behavior analysts or soon to be behavior analysts. We know how one learns, right? We call it operant learning, right? Meaning we come into contact with reinforcement and punishment, right? Oh, wow. That didn't work last time I tried sticking my finger in the socket. I'm not going to do that again, right? Or like, dude, last time I dressed really cute, someone bought me a drink at the bar for free. So I'm going to do that again, right? The same goes for taking a mock, right? Like if you answer a certain way and you get it right, you're like, okay, that's why it's important to review your results, which we'll talk about later. I'm going to do more of that. Or if you get it wrong, wow, what did I do? Hopefully it punishes your behavior of answering in that specific way. This is so important. And so if you do not have a feedback, it is useless, okay? It really is, because it's not shaping your learning. Also, when she said free is not free, I just have to piggyback on it because we just see it so much. There's a lot of free mocks out there, okay? What you're thinking is free, right? Free to download, essentially. But what's not free is when you have to take the test again because there has been incorrect information delivered in the test, right? If a question is, and I want you to know, writing questions is really hard. So it is highly possible that someone has written an incorrect question. There's some detail about it that makes it wrong. even though they wanted to go that you would choose a certain answer. And the problem with this is it results in you learning something wrong and then answering incorrectly on the test. So it's not free when you have to retake the test. So please invest upfront in mocks. It does not need to be ours, but whichever mock it is, please make sure it's reputable and has feedback. Sorry, I had to go on a little rant about that case.
I was waiting for it.
All right. Number 2, we're talking about changing your mindset. I mean, I know Casey's manning the email over there. You know, I'm between Instagram, talking to you guys, seeing lots of messages pop up. And it's like, you know, I'm really thinking about taking a mock, but I'm petrified. Like, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I just, you know, and it's, I mean, the same goes for signing up for the test. And the thing is, take that shit out of your mind, okay? Like, even if you got every question on it wrong, let's say there was 160 questions or 175 questions, depending on when you're taking the test, that means you got 175 opportunities to learn, okay? So this is not aversive. This is just like, in fact, it's guiding exactly what you need to be reading in your book. So this is exciting. This is the practice you need to be able to know what you need to study, right? The more questions you're exposed to, the better, right? Well-written questions, that is. Because now you've seen enough questions that kind of all have the same pattern when it's about response generalization. So now you know what to look for on a test, right? Or you know what not to do, because last time you said that, you got it wrong, right? So look at this as opportunity, right? This is a matter of seeing the glass half full or half empty. This is definitely half full, because each question is an opportunity. I can't say this enough. And make it a game. Like, this is fun, right? Just answering questions. How much did I take in, right? This is not your final score. This is opportunity. So please remember that.
And don't focus on your score at all. Focus on, you don't know what you don't know until you see it, right? So you may be reading Cooper, going through the collective notes and feeling real sexy about yourself and your knowledge. But until you apply it to questions, you might realize, wow, what I thought was inter-response time is not. I was thinking that was latency. I'll never mess that up again. So each opportunity is a question to an opportunity to learn what you know. Say, hey, I know momentary time sampling really well. Like, I never get that question wrong in a question. And also what you don't know.
True. Mocks, you don't know what you don't know until
you don't know.
You know your results.
All right, I'll do the next one. So this is huge, okay? Do not fool yourself or trick yourself or short yourself. Do not cheat, okay? So manipulating your environment. So A, you need to decide when you learn best. I am an early morning. I want to get up at 6 a.m., have my coffee, which you're not going to have food when we do this. But anyways, I know that I'm best in the morning. Afternoons, I have a slump and I'm just like, ugh, my brain shuts off until I come back again at like 8 o'clock at night, because my behavior has been shaped to teach the collective really late. So I know, hey, Casey, you pay attention most in the morning and at night. So I would make sure I pick a time when I'm best at my attention. I'm going to find a quiet, but not too comfy. Don't like get in bed and like cozy on up. You want to mimic the testing environment, okay? So if that's in your office, right? Or if it's at the kitchen table, or if it's at a coffee shop, whatever you need to do. If you have kids that are running around and you need some quiet space, go to the library, right? Rent out one of those conference rooms. They're free at libraries. Make sure, and I found myself doing this, and that's why I put it in here. Do not lock them up. Put your Cooper, put your notes, put your phone away. Seriously, because I remember taking my first mock and I was like, I'll just peek at Cooper, right? You cannot do that in the test. So please learn from me. Don't do what I do. And have no water or food. You want to be like in the test. So if you're sitting there munching on chips and drinking water the whole time, you're taking away time that you don't have, okay? Also, time yourself for every 20 questions. So just look at when you start. And then what I do is, I'll talk about the next slide too, have a piece of paper next to you. So like, all right, I started at 3 o'clock. After 20 questions, I was at 43 minutes. right? So you kind of know, and then build in your break. So I would write down question 43, took a bathroom break or went and got water, and how long that took me and when I sat back down. So I was very diligent in taking data while I was taking the mock.
Perfect. And one thing I want to add, just because Casey and I are yin and yang, the opposite we are. So I just want to let you know, on your first mock, I mean, this is me, okay? Casey might say the opposite. If it's already, if you're scared and like worried about this, take your first mock. If you have a favorite coffee shop or bubble tea shop, sit there, right? You're like, okay, maybe this one I'm not going to time, right? So that when you go into the future ones, at least you've done it. You've introduced yourself in a place that you enjoy it, right? Like then later you could lock yourself in a box with no water, food, mask on, right? But the idea is that also you're still learning, but you know, I mean, there are other skills, being able to sit for that long, being able to get them done in that amount of time. But maybe the first behavior you're working on is just being able to see how many questions you can answer, right? Then you're like, okay, now I want to shape the duration that I could sit, because I am someone who cannot sit that long or whatever it is. So both of these work, but whatever's going to work for you in terms of, definitely before you go in, you want to have the environment that like, it's like, okay, I focused and I sat for 160 questions. Cause that is like and don't worry, your adrenaline will be working on the test too, to help you. So, you know, it's like, that will be there.
Also just thinking back, this brings me back to like when I was studying, which was a long time ago now. I did build behavior momentum before I got to this point. My best friend who's in my cohort and we were studying together. We both bought a set of mini mocks that were like 20, 25 questions each. And we would take them separately. And then we'd have like a happy hour together and we'd go through with our Cooper book on our feedback and kind of be like, all right, explain to me, you know, you got that one wrong. Now let's look in Cooper and you tell me, you know, oh, that's why I missed it. And this is a new rule that I learned from it. So we did that for every section of the task list. And then I went and took 3 individual, like full-time mock exams this way. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm not always just a psychopath.
She is.
Sometimes I chill.
All right. This one, really important because it's about using your feedback to guide your studying. All right. So if I tell you to take the Cooper book and I'm like, hey, I need you to read the first 3 chapters, then the next day you'll read the next 2, and then blah, blah, blah. By the way, reading 3 chapters in one day is like impossible if you want to stay sane. So don't worry about that. But let's say I like take your Cooper book, right? I'm like, okay, read this. I'm going to test you on what you read after, right? And let's say I was going to test you on what you read and I asked something really specific about differential negative reinforcement, okay? You read over it in your book. It's likely you might miss the question only because you were just reading it over. You didn't have to apply it to anything. Now, let's say you take a mock and it asks you a question about, you know, I work with Charlie, and anytime, you know, he usually would like have these big tantrums to like get out of a task. And so now like anytime that he says break or says I'm tired, I'm going to reinforce his behavior. What am I using here? Right. And let's say one of the options is DNRA, right? Differential negative reinforcement of an alternative behavior or appropriate behavior.
Wow, I'm shocked that you know this.
Excuse me?
Sometimes you surprise me.
So the idea is that maybe reading it here, it didn't really stick with me until I actually had a question about it. And now I got the question wrong. Whether I got it wrong or right, by the way, you need to review all your feedback because there is also a likely chance that you got something right, but not because you were like straight up like, it is only this and I know this stuff so well. You got it right because you made an educated guess or you had luck, right? But that's not actually offering any learning for you because you're not coming into contact with the contingency of like, I knew it. Like, so review every single question, even if you knew you for sure got it right, right? It's going to confirm that you got it right because even once you think you got right, you might have missed a word and that's what made it something else, right? So my point is now that I've answered a question I got incorrect about differential negative reinforcement of alternative behavior, so I keep forgetting the end part, I'm going to go be like, okay, let me look that up in my index. Okay, I'm going to read about differential negative reinforcement. Problem behavior maintained by negative reinforcement can be treated a number of ways. Right? Now I go through there and your highlighting is going to be completely different because now you're highlighting the information that would have helped you answer that question and you will no longer get that wrong. So really, really, really make sure you have your Cooper book next to you when you're reviewing your results and it guides your studying. Holy shit. I realized I got every single question about antecedent interventions wrong. I now know what I need to go read, right? Okay, for each question, take your own data, right? Plus, minus, like, did I know that? Did I not? I was between A and C, right? Because then you could look back at that permanent product later and be like, why was I between A and C? Now that I'm reading it, whether you got it right or wrong, it couldn't have been C because of this, because I went back to that area and read about it, right? So take that data. It's also like allowing you to know where you were on that question. There's a lot of questions. You're going to forget about which was which, right? When you're done, take a freaking break. You did it, right? Don't be like, I did so poorly. I only got a 68. Now I need a kids to study for the next 3 days. You're not going to get good studying in. Take some time away from it. You now know exactly where to start your studying the next day or 2 days, whatever break you need, right? So seriously, it's important to build those in. That leads me to the next point, right? Wait a day or so and pull open Cooper and the mock feedback and go through the ones you got wrong and right. As I said before, both of them are learning opportunities. Now, I would also say if there's some you got wrong, I always say this over and over, and I don't know if anyone listens to me. And if you're watching this video and you've listened to me, please leave a comment so I know that someone hears me somewhere in the world about writing your own questions, okay? What do I mean by this? Write your own mock questions and give it to someone you're studying with about the topic that was difficult for you. Because when you write the question, you'll be like, oh shit, it was meant to be differential reinforcement of negative. Yeah, differential reinforcement of negative reinforcement of an alternative behavior, right? Oh, but I put that one word in that didn't make that because someone tried answering it and they're like, is it this? And you're like, no. They're like, but you put this. And then you'll realize that word that would have made a difference. And now you will look for that same pattern or word. And when you are reading questions in the future. Okay. Next.
I hear you.
Here you go. Case.
All right. So this is just breaking it down a little bit more simpler, just what we went through, but your mock taking process. Step 1, you need to sit down and take a mock. Okay. Like you can't get through it without doing that. Step 2, keep a piece of paper and star or write a note on the questions you were not confident on. Then review the results of every single question after you get it back and you take a day away from it. And then use your score. And I wouldn't say so much your score, I would use your feedback to guide your studying. Because a lot of people are like, I got a 76, I got an 82, It doesn't matter. Look at your feedback and that's what you need to be looking at. Don't stress about the score. Please just stress about the feedback and don't stress about it. I mean, like just enjoy your feedback. And it, like Liat said, now you don't need to worry about how you're going to study the next day. You're going to pick up that feedback and be like, oh, this is so fun. I've already gotten the mock out of the way. Now I can just really focus on learning and guiding my studying. It's like a really good feeling.
All right. All right. Data, right? If we are going to do some self-monitoring, right? We got to track our data. Everyone needs to make themselves some kind of basic sheet like this. Mine was like on an index card that I like used a ruler to make some lines on, and I still keep it just for the permanent product because I like looking at it. And I would record, and you could change this up to what works best for you, right? Like kids were home, kids weren't home. I don't know, whatever your situation is to see like variables. But like I put the mock name. Did you do it time? No, this was my first one I did. I did it over 2 days at a coffee shop, let's say, right? All right, I got a 64. I'm going to take some notes. Missed 4 questions about stimulus equivalents. Need to review response and conditioning. Super focused today, right? Action plan. Now I'm taking that. What am I going to do for studying when I open it tomorrow, right? I'm going to read page 36 in Cooper on response and conditioning. That's not the real page. I just put a random page, by the way, guys. You'll have to use your index.
Probably pretty close.
I feel like it'd be around there, though. Read an entire stimulus equivalent chapter and take notes. Okay? That's what I decided I need to do. Trending mock. All right. Did I time it? Yeah, I did. I did it in, the 4 hours that I was given, and had a fever while taking the test, and kids were screaming in the background. So just to note, there were some variables that might have affected, my reading, my focus. So I said, okay, I'm going to review all the parts of an FBA, review alternating treatment design to practice reading FA for function, right? To determine the function in an FA. Like I'm a little confused on alternating treatments, and it's a, you know, so now you know what you're going to read. Like how cool is that? To just tell someone to read, there's no way you're taking in the amount of detail you need to. I mean, I don't until I like one of you guys asked me a complicated as hell question. And then I'm like, right. So that, by the way, that is how I thought I knew what I thought I knew. Like, I mean, and I obviously did know enough to pass the test when I took it the first time. But once I started teaching and you guys have brought so many amazing questions to us, we still open our book every time to look up those topics. And that's why we have so many answers for you that are specific. Okay, so next, now I took another mock. I got a 70%. It was a super hard mock application clinical questions. They killed me. So now I need to go look, is there more opportunity for questions like that? And I definitely need to watch the collective video on the antecedent interventions, right? You're going to do what works for you. I mean, whatever it is. All right. Now this is a mock I made up. ABA for life mock. Yes, I got an 81%. Felt more confident, missed 6 ethics questions. Okay, so that means I really need to go back and read the scenario. I know I was a little lazy reading the scenarios in Bailey and Birch. I need to read those. You know, and maybe I got feedback that I'm like, oh, it's not just like a direct question. It's more that none of us really like, I was kind of, they're kind of in every question, you know, like, oh, I see it's in every single question. It's not just going to be these direct, like, what code is this, right? It might be about anything. So the idea, it's going to give you a question, the idea of what to expect on the test. It's not going to be a surprise to you. So really take this data. It's also reinforcing to look at and remember that, you know, different mocks can have different difficulty levels. And so don't be like, oh, my score went down. It might be, you know, based on the mock. So calm.
And also not never, but the question I get a lot is, which mock exams are most like the exam? Well, no one writing these mock exams knows it can ever say what's ever on the exam, right? And no one knows how like hard it might be. So my answer is just take the mocks, right? Like expose yourself to questions, but don't worry about how hard it is or how similar it is to the test or what your score is. Like just keep your data.
As long as the information they are asking about and the questions are written correctly, you are learning. You are learning. That is opportunity no matter what, okay? All right, this is what we had for you today, but you could always hit us up with any questions. You could go on our website. You could get into our Facebook groups. We have awesome Facebook groups where it's a great community with thousands of you guys and us answering questions, helping each other out. If you have an issue with like signing up for your test or there's a certain concept you're confused about, there are people who have the exact same MO as you. So I really recommend joining the group. Our Instagram, Study Notes ABA, you'll catch me doing real life examples all the time and letting you know what we're up to, what's going on. Our YouTube, you're here now, so I'm hoping that you know where it is, but you can definitely like and save our channel to get an update whenever we post new videos. And let us know in the comments what videos you want us to post on. We're happy to make any videos that to help you guys. And our email, this is Casey's domain. You could always send an email to contact@studynotesaba.com. This chick will respond. You can know that she will respond. And if she does not respond, please call the police and say that you're worried there's a life alert, missing person.
A second one, because maybe for some reason it didn't go to the right folder. So yes.
Anyways, guys, that's all we have for you. I hope this is super helpful and that you guys could see mocks in a more positive light because they really, really are helpful for you guys. And any questions, hit us up.
Love you, mean it.
Did you say mean it?
Yeah.